Basically, my job is to excite people about my brands and categories and get them to consume more. It's as simple as that. Get people to eat more chocolate. Sounds interesting, isn't it? Ability to read, assess, analyze data and connect the dots. Today more than ever, marketers are blessed by having a lot of data, a lot of feedback from consumers. So it really becomes important for them to be able to read the data and interpret the data, connect the dots and take decisions. I think the second important related skill or trait is to be agile, and the ability to for a marketer to constantly think, adapt, change based on what the consumer is saying today. Given the nature of the media the consumers are consuming today, there's a huge amount of content, there's a huge amount of churn, and unless the marketers are in step with consumers and are able to move with a degree of agility, they run the risk of losing out and not being in connect with the consumer. And I think the third important skill would be creative problem solving, because it's important for marketers to understand the business problem and be able to interpret that into consumer action. And in marketing, there's no one right answer. So the ability to be able to spot those insights and convert them into solutions is really what makes a good marketer different from an average marketer. I think the first and most is this whole notion that you need to be very strong in technology, digital, and to be really a master of it. Finally, we must remember that it's all about the consumer and it's not rocket science. Yes, there's lots evolving, there are new platforms, there's new lingo, there are new algorithms, there's a lot of tech, but it all can be learned, so you don't need to be a master of it. I think the second big overrated skill or trait is years of experience. Quite often, we go by saying, okay, how many years of experience a person has, how much of domain knowledge a person has. I mean, in today's day and age, I don't think that's as important as an ability for a person to keep learning and to stay relevant, stay contextual. So being and having an attitude towards learning is much more important. And I think the third overrated skill is, quite often you think of a marketer as a very suave communicator and have a lot of control in language, being extrovert and connecting with people. What is most important is this ability to solve problem, the clarity of thought, and to be able to take a team together. It really doesn't matter that you have to be a super extrovert and super cool in the language that you use. I mean, I think that's quite overrated. I think one significant way the role of a marketer has changed post the pandemic is the fact that they need to think beyond just what their brand stands for and what its business objective is. They have to take their brands and categories more seriously. They have to understand that it plays a role in the consumer's life, and really marketers have to become much more purposeful in the way they bring forth their brand in a consumer's life. Otherwise, you run the risk of becoming peripheral. The fact that we need to be super agile. Things are going to be constantly changing, and how quickly can we adapt and change our plans, respond to the way the consumer is responding. And the fact that everybody is in a zone of ambiguity, including the consumer, and hence we have to keep trying, keep experimenting, and not be dogmatic or pedantic about what's the truth. Maybe there's no absolute truth and things will keep evolving. So the ability to stay agile is, I think, the new skill. I mean, not that it was a skill that wasn't important, but it's just become even more heightened. I think the next big thing coming down the line in the marketing industry is really personalization. Look around us, look at ourselves in our own lives. Today, the feed that we get, the things that we buy, the places that we go to, increasingly we are seeing things getting more and more personalized. That's what digital media is able to do. That's what having a direct-to-consumer relationship is able to unlock. And today that's the beauty. So hence I think that's the biggest thing. And large brands like ours, how do we embrace this without getting too constrained, or without operating in a good old scale broadcast method of marketing, I think is going to be an important switch, because it doesn't matter how big a brand is, our consumers are expecting a one-on-one relationship with the brand. Possibly a bit controversial, but I think a multi-screen life, I think an ability to kind of constantly be juggling multiple things, and hence having multiple screens on my desk helps me to kind of multitask without losing focus on what I'm doing. The best and the most useful advice that I've got that keeps me grounded and continues to help me push myself: you're never as good as your greatest success, and you're never as bad as your worst failure. Take everything in the stride. So as a marketer, as a professional goes, you need to control what you can control and put your best foot forward, and then the results you'll have to follow, and you need to accept, learn, and move on. The worst advice I've got in the job is follow your gut. I think it tends to get overrated. You tend to listen only to yourself. You forget, and you take your experience for granted. So I would rephrase it to say that I need to take everybody's input together and take it forward, rather than just follow my own gut. Continue to be curious and keep learning. Don't rely on experiences and types of jobs or types of companies that you work for, and don't take them for granted to say, okay, I've worked 5 years and now I've become a marketer. It never works that way, especially a marketer's job, especially in today's constantly dynamic, changing society, changing context because of the way digital is evolving. We need to remain humble, remain to be clear that we are in the service of the consumer. We go where the consumer is. I think that's very, very important, and do not take your experience for granted. Thank you.